thinking, just mulling it over.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm hella tired.
Yeah, I did not.
That's why I just put coffee in my coffee.
I'm hella tired.
I put extra coffee in my caramel latte.
Wow.
There we go.
You're
No
amazing.
Karen's Club
I needed.
podcast. Estelle, Hannah, and Andre Lance.
Wow, you're not even going to say it with your chest.
It's still the morning.
Don't
Well,
say it's still the morning.
It's not, it's afternoon.
It's actually like we're way past schedule.
Yeah.
And also, Kyle Finlay, wherever the hell he is.
Yeah, not turned up yet. No.
Obviously, never on time. You can't.
Listen, I'm
Don't
here.
even.
I am here.
He was in IKEA when we went to start.
Listen,
IKEA.
you know when
Stuff in his
you know what it
face
is though,
with meatballs.
when you get in IKEA, you get like lost in it. So it's like you see something, you think, oh, I need this, I need that, I need
Like
this.
I said, IKEA is
No,
a day. It's not.
Costco.
There's no such thing as a in-out trip.
I
at
haven't been to
IKEA.
IKEA in God knows how long. It's Costco for me. The samples.
You
It's just
sample
the
it.
sample.
I'm a
Sample,
sample,
Do you know what?
yeah.
In America, yeah, when you go to like any food cart, samples.
Oh my God.
Isn't it?
Do you know what I miss Cinnabon?
Yo.
Hey,
Oh, decided to turn up, you know.
Wow.
Jesus.
Sorry.
Wow.
Introduce
Look at
yourself.
I like your outfit. Did you choose it? And especially for this.
My mum chose it.
Oh wow.
So,
what time did you call this?
She didn't tell me time stuff.
Who's she?
You know what?
Wow.
Hannah was like, Kyle tried to lie and say I didn't give him a time.
I don't actually remember you giving me time. I was
You
just
asked me specifically as well, which was the third time I was telling you. Because I was like, you've not put it in the time, and you went, you haven't given me a time. I said 11 o'clock.
Let's just keep it real,
Oh, I
yeah?
do actually remember.
Oh
No,
yeah,
wait.
you went back to me now.
I do remember that bit.
Let's just keep it real.
He's like, yeah, I
When
do.
is Kyle
yeah.
ever on time?
Always.
Was Kyle late to an
You literally
obligation?
could not even
You-
say that with a straight face.
Wait. Have you not heard the story?
No.
Shall I make it very quick and
Yeah,
brief?
yeah, say the story.
He was late to my dad's wedding.
Oh, I remember you telling me
Kyle.
this. Look him
Just leave it.
scratching away
Just
at
leave
his
it. Let's just
skin.
leave-
My aunt,
let's
she
just
got
leave
lost
it
in
at that.
Manchester Piccadilly. So it was either leave my aunt at Piccadilly like train station.
Could you imagine just leaving your auntie in Piccadilly, floundering?
Oh my
Back when I was
God.
single, you know what I mean? It's just like, do you want to come to a wedding? I've got no one else to go with.
And then you just like lost her.
Yeah, she actually got the train all the way from Peterborough, to be fair.
Oh.
The wedding was jokes, though. It was a good night, that was.
Turned up to them not coming out the ceremony, just like, oh.
Yeah, we're walking out.
Wait,
ceremony.
that late?
So
Yeah.
ceremony done. I was walking
Are you
out.
not
and Kyle
ashamed of
walked in.
yourself?
You just came from the
What
bar,
choice now?
innit?
What choice now? You have a choice?
Nobody even
Yeah.
FaceTimed you in? That's mad.
I could have literally been there on time, but I was just like, see you later, aunt, like, get a taxi. And it weren't even that, was it close to the train
Yeah,
station?
it was really close to it that far.
Oh, that's annoying. You should
But
have
I
just stood outside through
He
the ride.
doesn't know how to take space.
Well, no, because I'm not from Manchester, so when someone says I'm at this part of the train station, I'm just like, well, I'm here.
Come find me.
I'm at the train station. Where are you? At the train
Same.
station.
Oh, Carl and Ross. Hurry up. Pulled up, literally
Poor
like
auntie.
skirting into the car park, running in. I was just like, we're both running in and we're just like,
That was so jokes.
Wow.
so.
Well, your aunt wasn't coming to this one, so. Do you know what I mean?
You sure that is?
Yeah, literally, even Pip's on the phone like, oh, Kyle late to an obligation? Shock. I was like, I was thinking, I bet she's helped you sleep in and all. Both little nappers in the morning, Kyle's up.
Did school not teach you about punctuality?
I was literally thinking the same thing.
I'm not gonna lie. At school, I was always late. Always. I was the worst.
Were you?
Yeah.
Did you have to travel to get to school though?
Do you know what it is? I've always been like a last minute when it goes to like
Really?
to get school, get
You're a
ready last
last-minute
minute.
person?
Yeah, like when it gets ready to go to school, but not in general.
She's
I
taking the
mean,
piss.
in
Oh.
general, you are.
That was great sarcasm.
He's sitting there explaining
Probably explaining myself. Like, yeah, I only
Yeah,
school. Like,
That's actually mad because my brother's the same. I remember I stayed with my parents early this year just for a bit, and my brother's school starts at 8:30. And
Yeah.
I would stay in the guest room when I'm with my parents, and I remember like waking up at like 8:25, hearing my brother like go on the line and be like, "Yeah, sorry I'm late, Dad." Yeah, at 8:25.
Isn't he just waking up?
No, he just got finished getting ready, just put on his like uniform. School started at 8:30.
So he's got 5 minutes.
He's got 5 minutes
Did
to
your
go
dad
there.
have to drop him?
My dad dropped him, obviously out of the goodness of his heart. He was like 2 minutes late.
So
Do you know how he must have floored that?
do you know how many times I've run to school knowing I got 5 minutes just to make it on time?
Like,
Like,
that's
proper running.
Yeah, to
Like
be
it's
fair.
gonna make any difference.
Sweat on my brow.
Me and Jess used to message me in the morning being like, where are you? Because obviously I'd stop off at her house on the way and we'd go down like an alleyway to get to school. And it was only like 10-minute walk. So she'd be like, where are you? So I'd be like, I'm coming. Me just still scranning as usual. And then I'd get there and she wouldn't be ready and I'd be like, what the fuck? And she'd just be like, oh, 1 second, and doing all these little bits. I'd be like, hold on a second. We should be like 1 foot out the door going straight away.
Never
But we
on
always
time.
made it on time anyway. You know,
Well, I got my
Good like
GCSEs, that counts.
Got there in the end.
So speaking of that, so we're actually talking about what you didn't learn at school today. So like what school hasn't taught you and what you feel like they should be teaching in schools to deal with adulting and adult life.
So, who wants to go first? Do you want to go first, Carl?
I'll let you go first.
I was like, how long have you got?
There's so much.
Fraser should decide, right, let me start, you know what I mean? This
What
could be like
don't I know?
Pretty much a
A
lot.
lot. Like, I think in terms of, do you want to go business or history first? Like those
Actually,
two big key
Shall we start easy? What did school teach you?
It taught me that.
I think it taught you the basics of sort of like your maths, your English, and that side of things, and how to communicate with other sort of like friends and stuff like that, and like walk to school, and not that it's,
I learned to walk to school. I'm so glad you got the most out of your education.
I couldn't walk before this.
you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Literally, it's like, oh yeah, there's their school, like crack on, like, you know what I mean? Go with your friends here. It's just like for the first time in school uniform and stuff like that. But like,
I'm just imagining you with like
your
the
little,
biggest
your
backpack
blazer
on,
and your
like-
little backpack.
I never had. Do you lot have blazers? I never had a blazer.
Yeah, we had
we had
blazers.
blazers.
Mine was a
Yeah.
jumper and polo.
Jumper
Right.
and polo.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
posh.
No, it's
That's
like,
laid back.
That was
Laid
in
back,
primary
laid
school
back.
for us.
yeah, same. I went primary to
All the way up.
Yeah.
That's
So
mad.
did you not have
We had
ties then?
blazers.
No ties. I did. I learned how to do a tie like after school.
So
I
school
never-
didn't teach you how to do ties
No,
because
no.
I learnt that at school.
I
That's
learned
mad.
that. And when
What?
people used to have clip-ons, I'd be like, pathetic.
it took me like 2 years to learn how to do a proper tie. People are like, you still doing ties like that? I'm just like, yeah, that's how you do it. No, it isn't. So.
Oh, baby ties.
Honestly, you know what I mean?
You can't do a proper Windsor knot like the fancy
Oh,
style.
you'd have like your normal big tie there, and you have the like the back bit just like hanging all over.
Yeah, I don't understand. There was like the fashion where you had your little short fat ties, the little back bit just like dangling down like this.
Basically. I feel like you said about like social skills and stuff. I feel like you learn like the very basic, the basics of social skills there. But I think even with like your general subjects, like your English, maths, and science, and whatever, I think they just taught us how to pass exams. I think that's all they literally taught us, because I don't know my times tables. I can't do them.
Wow.
Yes.
I need to know my
Like
times.
they
I need to make money.
stress me
So if I don't
out.
know how to times
Got a
them,
calculator for that. Got a
Fair.
calculator. I have to work out blooming redemption figures and all sorts. They're big sums.
Fair,
Big
fair,
sums,
fair.
tens of thousands, and they're trusting me with it. And I'm sat there sweating. Like, oh god! I made them make a Excel spreadsheet so it'd do it for me. You know, I was like, I can't keep making these calculations.
School didn't teach
Yeah,
me
but you
Excel
learned how
though.
to do Excel.
No,
I
I
didn't learn that at
didn't do
school.
it. I just got
I didn't learn
IT
Excel at
to do
school.
it.
Did you not learn Excel at school? I did.
I did,
I learned it in uni.
but I don't remember it.
I learnt it in uni.
Oh, okay.
It just depends certain subjects. I remember like I was doing art and we'd sit there on the computers like messing around with paint. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
In
that,
art?
Yeah, that was just a pointless.
Wait,
subject.
in art you were using like I thought you meant like paint on the computer.
No. No, the actual program on, like on Windows, like Paint. Like
Yeah.
you would,
That's
like,
what you.
But you were doing that in art.
Yeah, why
yeah,
did they
that
not
was
give you
not the whole
paint
time.
and paper?
Not the whole time, but there were certain
okay,
things where you
okay,
do like
yeah.
computer-based stuff and you
That's
do
mad.
like normal thing. But that for me, whether or not I wasn't going into that creative art side of
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
to me that was a waste of a module. I don't know if you could have had a choice in school to do certain
do
modules
something,
like you
yeah.
do in your college, because then you could have been like, right, actually that more interests me, because everyone loved food tech just because it was an excuse just to go sit there and bake a cake. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
do something
yeah.
silly.
Did anyone ever have that thing where you tell your mum like at 9 p.m. what you needed for food tech the next day? I'd always be like,
Like-
Mum, I need flour. She's like,
Yeah.
Estelle, why haven't you told me?
That was it,
Yeah, I did, but I mean, you guys have seen my house. Like,
Oh yeah, you're
there's the
Yeah,
stuff in
food.
there. Like, my mum has everything. She's like pretty much equipped for the apocalypse if it happened tomorrow. She's got every bit of food, every bit of nationality food, and it's all alphabetized and like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's not good.
Sorry, mum. But it's
Shout out.
crazy. Shout out, mumsy.
But there's like certain subjects, like I said, that like you don't necessarily need and are pointless, and there are certain subjects that you do learn little bits, and then you then advance those skills later on.
I feel like you need to have a baseline knowledge though. So obviously, yeah, for me, some of the things I'm like, oh, I probably didn't need that. But like even just basic stuff like, I don't know, fry an egg in food tech, you need to know how to do it.
Did you? How
You
did
did
that
that
at
in food
home?
tech?
Huh?
Didn't you learn that at home?
No, I'd learned that at home, but like
Yeah.
I've still come to uni and know people that can't boil eggs.
Yeah, that's.
Do you know what I mean? So I know,
yeah.
obviously you don't have to go into detail in every single thing and every single subject at school, but you need to have a baseline knowledge.
I know
feel.
people still to this day can't cook rice. That's funny, but
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've got a rice cooker. I can cook rice,
Yeah,
but rice
rice
cooker,
cookers are
like,
the
it'll
best.
change your
Some
life.
people are just like, oh no, like how do you cook rice?
Yeah, but I think food tech's an important
Yeah, it's
subject for that
important, yeah.
reason. But they teach you dumb stuff that my mum taught me when I was like 5.
Yeah,
They don't teach you life skills. That I think
Like-
schools
Yeah,
need
But what
to
year
teach.
do you do food tech in? I can't remember.
Year
Like
7.
7,
Year
8.
7.
I don't
Yeah,
think
7,
you should
8,
be doing that
9.
at like what year?
Yeah,
9,
4.
year 10.
What?
maybe.
What? No, we should be doing it way before that. To cook.
Well, what do you want?
Do you want
We-
these kids
we
to have
did, like-
Yeah, but
developmental
then, like, for
issues?
example, my little sister Reagan, what she's like year 8 now. Do I really want her cooking? 2
Yes.
years younger at 11 years old on the cooker.
Yeah.
And the hob.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
I think so. I
Yeah.
think that's the difference
That
now.
means
Like,
you don't have to cook.
because then when you're going there and
I
you can
know.
tell her to like set stuff up and that and just
Yeah, but
come
then
on.
but what I'm trying to say is she then uses oil, cooks a frying egg, and then all of a sudden it
But if
like,
she knows how to do it, she'll do it correctly, innit? If she
Yeah.
doesn't know how to, she's gonna f it up.
Yeah, no, true. But yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you don't supervise her. Like, you're supervising the class, so...
Yeah, but you're also trying to supervise a kid when you may not be there. Who's going to come down to the kitchen at 1
Oh,
o'clock in the morning and
okay.
try- Like,
Yeah, yeah,
do you know what I mean? This is
yeah.
that
Yeah,
side
yeah,
of
yeah,
things
okay,
where I'm
yeah.
just like,
Fair.
oh, actually, that is a potential risk.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what? At the same time, I agree with what you're saying. They do need to be taught how to cook or be able to look after themselves.
Oh.
Like at certain ages, if they want to go make a ham sandwich or go make certain.
Yeah.
Ham sandwich.
Well, just-
But how old were you when you first started to
Doing
like
that in
cook?
food tech.
Would you say?
I can't
He
remember.
still can't cook.
Yeah, fair.
He cooks
Fair,
3 meals.
Do you know when he said, I know people who can't cook rice?
can't do
You
it.
chatting about yourself?
Nah,
I can't cook.
No,
There's a
he's
few-
got rice. That's his, like,
a-
one of his 3 dishes.
He's got
I
like
cook 8 dishes, and that's me.
yeah, he's got like he's
No,
got
you
about
made a good lasagna.
5.
Now I've got about 8.
You did make a good lasagna.
He can do what I know he can do because I've lived with Carl for a long time as well. He can do fried dumplings.
Look at his face.
He can do chicken to an extent, but he doesn't season it enough.
Oh, no!
No,
For me, that's just my preference. So like, I
No,
like.
yeah, you like
like
to sit
my
there for 20
food.
minutes seasoning your shit.
Yeah, you got to let it marinate.
You can just marinate it.
Right.
Bruv.
Look, see.
I put my I'm just trying to think what.
And until he met me, he didn't know about barbecuing his chicken. I stopped eating meat now, but
Yeah, no, I've never been a big fan of barbecue chicken anyway.
So what? Do you not have a lot of barbecue ribs now?
Yeah, but barbecue ribs comes with a barbecue. I'm just thinking.
No, but I'm saying how to
barbecue ribs
marinate.
comes with barbecue sauce anyway.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but would you not marinate, like, ever?
What, my chicken?
Yeah, with your schedule, I
not.
think marinating would be better for you.
I marinate my chicken. I'm happy with the way I marinate my chicken.
Oh, we're not coming at you, bro.
No, I'm not. No, you don't.
I feel like this is
I'm
bullying.
happy with the way I marinate my chicken. My chicken tastes good. Other people's chicken tastes better. But I'm not a chef. If I wanted to be a chef, I could have taken up a chef. You know. What I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
For me, I get by. You know, I get my gains from my chicken.
That's
you know what I
mad,
mean?
you know. That's just cooking to survive. Like, that's not even it's
That's how
no
Kyle
enjoyment.
lives.
No
Yeah.
enjoyment. That's mad.
Unless Pip does it, or if he's cooking for Pip, he puts in the extra.
Yeah, puts in the effort.
Oh.
I put the extra effort on.
Or he'll go get Nando's and then put it in the oven as if he's made it.
Joke.
I can't even remember what we're talking about then.
Yeah, squash.
Food tech and
Fried dumplings, you know.
Yeah, he's good at cooking.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, you've never made your fried dumplings.
We've been
yet.
broke and we've had to survive off
yeah.
fried dumplings. So, trust me, we know.
You got
It's
your
not
survival
bad.
food,
Yeah.
your basic food, and then your luxury
Yeah.
food.
To get baked beans with fried dumplings, that's getting luxury now. What? Why did you do that? Baked beans and fried dumplings?
Yeah, mate.
What?
No, but I have an issue with baked beans that go on very specific things. And
Baked
by
beans
that,
with
I
the
mean
onions
in a
in with your
bowl
fried
on their
dumpling.
own.
Banging.
What?
I don't like my baked beans.
Wait.
touching anything.
So how do you make your baked beans? This is a this
No,
is
like
a
I
test.
season my beans.
Okay, I'll go.
Like I season my
Do
beans,
you
obviously.
put onions in it?
Yeah, onions. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
onions.
Onions
Yeah.
with it. Yeah. of course.
Garlic, a little bit of barbecue, some paprika.
Paprika.
Salt, pepper. You know, I like my beans like seasoned, but
If anyone puts
they're in
their
a bowl
beans,
on their own, so you got to season them good. Like
anyone just puts a tin of beans in the microwave, for me, I go nuts. I'm like, bro.
I know people who put it in a mug and put it in the microwave.
I just put it in the bowl, put it in the microwave.
Like literally,
Simple.
put it in the bowl is simple.
Nah,
Like,
man, you gotta do just
wait,
a
do you
little
not
something.
season?
No.
Oh, of
I put
course
it in
not.
like-
He's keeping
It's
quiet over there.
too
Like,
long. Forget that. My food's there. Beans in the microwave. Job done. It's going down.
Jobs are good. In.
oh my lord. Yeah.
So
So
hot food.
what other stuff do you think that it did teach you? I think you started to deal with beginning to deal with like conflicts on small scales. I think school often helped you that, whether it be with a teacher,
Do you know
whether
what
it
I'd
be
say?
with between other people.
I thought every
Just
man
off
for himself
the-
sort of thing.
Not to use a clubhouse term, but to piggyback off that,
Yeah.
I would say like your identity started to build an identity of who you are as a person and where you fit.
Yeah.
So like you had the
Very from
popular
social
kids,
groups,
yeah.
Yeah.
You had the nerds, and then where do you fit in between that? I was like, I don't want to gas myself up.
Oh my god! If you say you're a popular
Kids,
kid,
yeah.
I'm not
Popular
even gonna.
kid, yeah.
Nah,
Sorry,
but-
no, I don't believe it.
you do. I was like in the mist because I felt bad for when the popular kids were trying to bully the
Yeah.
nerdy kids. So I just sat in the middle. I was like
Yeah.
I think that's the same with me. I always sat in the middle where if I wanted to then just chill with the geeks, or if you call them the geeks, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
yeah.
the
just
people who
whoever.
just didn't care, just wanted to go to school and just I would prefer that if I
Yeah.
could do that. Then if I wanted to go hang out with the cool kids, which wasn't actually that fun,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
as a
yeah.
social status you
Yes.
could do.
yeah.
But I've just been able to do that all the way through. Even
Yeah.
now, I'm like, if I want to go hang out with the cool people we say in Leeds, I can go have a drink with them or go on an out with them.
That's when you call me.
Probably won't be the best night out, but then if I want to go
Oh,
hang
yeah,
out
we
with,
can
but
scratch
if
that.
I want to go hang out with like some people who just want to go out and get
Yeah,
drunk
yeah,
in
yeah.
Headingley just for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pub crawl,
yeah.
I'd probably have a better night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think we've got that as a specific group. We're very like, we don't care what people might see your status as. We're just,
Yeah.
if we like you, that's it. Like, full stop. Period. As people say.
Okay, man.
Period. But I think that's given advantage to us because we've chosen to be those types of people, like not caring about status, not caring
Yeah.
about any of those things, or being cool. Because what is cool? Like, what's cool? Like, for me, being an absolute weirdo is cool. Because I think you not caring,
Yeah.
that's cool. People caring about what other people think, I just tend to not
I think
hang around with people
think
like
that
that.
now-
But not everyone has that experience, I don't think.
I was gonna say I think that now, but like when you was in school, that wasn't the case because you are kind of in that bubble.
See, I just didn't think like
Whereas
that.
for me, like I got on with like whatever group of people, so, and I
Yeah.
feel like I can still do that now. No matter what group I'm in, I can kind of blend in with it. I remember someone at school saying to me, "It's I just really love the fact that you don't actually have a friendship group." And at the time, I was like, "That's a massive slap in the face." I was like, "Well, brilliant," but like I do get it because I can just kind of hop to wherever and it'd be fine because I'm not into this whole clicky thing.
Yeah. It's not for me.
But you're aware of it. That's
Yeah,
what's,
yeah,
I
which
think
is
that's
fine.
a good thing when you're aware of it and you can just maneuver your way through.
Yeah.
But I think now more than ever, like I've been doing like a diversity video with a school down south, and you've got a lot of people who are gay, bi, and it's now sort of come out a bit more. People can actually express
Yeah.
themselves. I don't think back in the day when I was at
Nah.
school
No
that
way.
was a thing.
No way, no.
If people either knew what they were, or because a lot of people now have openly spoken about it, like celebrity influencers and other high profile
Yeah.
people, and there's the support there now for it. Whereas maybe if someone was gay back in the day or something like that, you
was
were
frowned
necessarily
upon, innit?
yeah, you were
Yeah.
frowned upon
Yeah,
or
yeah,
bullied.
yeah.
So I think school didn't necessarily teach you or support you, which
With that.
which I felt back in the day. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I didn't
Yeah.
really go through any of that to see if there was that,
Was that
support, but I
support,
didn't
yeah.
really see that. Whereas I now see it such a big thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that was at the forefront back then. Like I've literally when I was thinking about it yesterday, I was thinking about self-awareness. They don't teach you anything about self-awareness. So therefore, it is kind of hard to develop your own identity to the fullest because you don't know what you're supposed to be looking to. You don't know what you're supposed to be like. What's white, what's right, what's wrong, or what's right, what's right or what's wrong.
No Karen's club.
Oh, Gordon Bennett. And I think that was quite difficult because my brother came out after he left school, and I think that did have a massive impact on those things because you're not taught to be inclusive. Like me and Callum were talking about it, and the curriculum is white. It's also male orientated and it's cis orientated. Like it doesn't really branch out in the ways that you think it probably should. But our generation are only just sort of experiencing that and talking about it. So that the younger generation, obviously our generation are teaching this generation coming up. So hopefully it is more at the forefront of schools. But
which is interesting.
Definitely
my brother's in school now, so I'd like to see see his perspective on how that is in his school now because he's I don't know, I think he's about 14. So it'll be a lot different from when
you don't know. He's around.
They grow too fast.
He's around,
They all
go too fast. Whereas like just as you were saying, for me, there wasn't that sort of like evident support when I was in school.
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird because coming to uni, I think that was the biggest shock for me because I'm from such a white area and the curriculum is based in a certain way and from a certain perspective. It's not even something you consider. And I just remember coming to uni and being like, holy shit, I'm so ignorant. Like I have no clue what's going on out there. I have no clue about what other people go through or like anything like that because my area is so white and we got taught in a white manner. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's so important that we need to change within our education system because although people might look at me now and be like, oh, you're an ally or whatever, like I'm like, but don't assume I've always been like this because it is quite difficult to get your head around some things when you've been taught a certain way, especially if you're taught closed-mindedly. It's definitely something that it's uncomfortable and difficult to learn as you grow up, but you just sort of got to be like, right.
Yeah, because I put
It'd
the
be too
question
easy
on
to just not learn
my
these
Instagram
things.
about like what do you wish school taught you, and someone was just like Black history.
But
it was a black person that said it. So like I get that a lot of white people could be like, oh, I wish I knew more about this in school, but there's black people who don't even know about that
Black history,
about their own black history,
and
which
when
is
they do
mad.
teach you, it's American.
Yeah, which is
it's
mad.
not even our black history.
So the fact
I
that
think
even in
they do
March
need
now,
to change the curriculum.
Yeah,
I mean, in
100%.
certain sectors like that, whether or not it's, I don't even know, you can't call it mental health, but your health, your sexuality, and all of that side of things.
Yeah.
But even some of the stuff that they do teach you, like Of Mice and Men, which I think we've all that.
Yeah.
When I was speaking to some of the kids down south, they were literally just like some of the wording and terminology used. Offends
it's offensive.
You know what I mean? So if you're getting that much offensive feedback from it, why is it still?
Why is it still in the curriculum?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is outdated.
But back in the day, like Roots was in my curriculum in my school.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's mad, isn't it?
It's mad.
That
but
is
it took so long for that to be changed because
Yeah.
they thought that was okay, but it was set by your white superiors in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
curriculum board. So there's constantly things changing, but I think there's a long journey for that change, but it needs to.
I just don't think it's going fast enough. That's
It's
my
because
problem.
the representation is not there. You can have a diversity council at school, but they're all white people, like, or they're all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
if there's no representation in these areas, then honestly, it's just more white people thinking they're doing what's
the
best.
right thing.
And like, says who? Do you know what I mean? Like, says who gave you authority?
You know, it's mad because my dad just joined the council for my little sister's school.
Oh, so okay.
So,
like the parent council or like school council?
The school like council board or
Like
whatever it's
governors,
called.
yeah.
Yeah, governors or whatever.
Sick.
So he gets to have a bit of an
Man,
input on. I know, shout out Albert. But yeah, that gives him a bit more of a say and ideas that he can bring to the forefront. But there's not many parents, maybe of an ethnic minority, that are going to do that. I know obviously Carl's mum's teaching as well, so you've got people who are in them positions, but it needs to be. I just think it's not going quick enough, and they're not hearing that sort of side of things out.
Yeah, I think it's...
And because, like you say, the majority of people who go to these schools are white, why are we teaching this? But there is an importance to teach this to white kids.
It's probably sometimes more important to teach it to white people.
Kids,
Which is mad because even with my school, like as you were saying, Kai, we were reading stuff of Mice and Men, and the whole class was like, they were shook because obviously, well, white people in my class were the minority. Like in my year and in school generally.
wow.
Yeah, it was mainly like black and Asian people.
Okay.
Oh, that was in your first school, innit?
Yeah, no, my second one.
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's
yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
I
It was
the
mad.
only black person in me and my sister were the only black people
That's
in that
mad.
school. But it was a majority Asian and white, and then it's just me and my sister.
Weird from
How mad is
Manchester.
that?
You'd thought there'd been a bit better mix.
Obviously, in
Yeah.
other schools there were,
Yeah.
but like the school I went
Yours,
to,
yeah.
Yeah.
But then there was like the English teacher just reading out the N word, like, and then all the other
Read it out, like, just calm.
but like it was one of those where he obviously knew he shouldn't have said it, like he'd pause.
Said a disclaimer.
No, but the thing is, he'd even like
I'm
made a
picturing
run
this
up.
now.
He even made a run up to it, so he'd like get to the word, pause, say it, and then carry on. It was just mad, and everyone would be like, "Yeah, it was mad."
Like, that's almost emphasising
Yeah.
it.
No,
It's
honestly,
worse,
that's what it's like. Like
Yeah.
when I was dealing with the school, because I was getting everyone to say, "Oh, can you tell me a story?" And they were saying there's other kids who read out the books with
Yeah.
the N word and whatever word terminology, and then they'll sit there and look at one person and they'll read it out facing them.
Bam, it's mad. Yeah.
But at the same time,
Wow.
they can't do anything
Okay.
because
Yeah,
curriculum's
yeah.
asking them to read
To
out
read it, yeah.
the paragraph.
Yeah.
But then they're, you know what I mean, they're in their head literally sitting there.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's
mine,
emotional
yeah.
bullying.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, as a parent, you kind of have the responsibility to teach your kids, like, it's okay to say you don't want to say
Say
this,
that.
and it's
Yeah,
okay
yeah,
for
yeah,
you
yeah.
to challenge these views. Because I'm lucky enough that my mum was always just like, if you don't think what they've done is right, then speak up and say something,
Yeah.
but make sure you can explain yourself. Like, don't just say it willy-nilly, otherwise people won't take you
Do you know-
serious.
Yeah,
So, like, I always was able to just be like, I don't think this is right. Like, at one point I stopped going to my English lessons because they weren't teaching me the way I needed to be taught. So I went, Miss, I'm attending a different class. Like, I'm not
That's nice.
attending this anymore.
Choice of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, wow.
Yeah, but and do you know,
I went from set 1 and I was like, I'm gonna go sit in set 2s because they're getting better marks than us in the marks. So clearly you're not teaching us the things we need to hit. Like, and she didn't like me
do you know,
anyway. So
do you know
I
what
was
I think
like,
that is though? Even with that, like, I don't feel like, because we're in a school and our mindset was like, we couldn't even say nothing to the teacher because we think
way.
the teacher knows everything
Yeah.
when you're at that age.
yeah.
But now looking back, you'll be thinking, if I had the mindset like you did at that time, I could have been like, nah, I'm not in this class. But
Yeah.
your mind's not even there.
Yeah.
Your mind just like, get through this lesson, get home. I want to go and play PS2. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
like get through, learn what you need to learn to get through this exam, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I feel like school encourages that mindset.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I've learned how to be a crammer. I can cram my work
Oh, yeah,
so
100%.
well,
Yeah.
but some things like timetables, I don't know. I don't know what to
No,
like.
I'm honestly, they've done
And
me
that's
dirty with
probably
that.
quite- yeah.
Honestly, I've actually mentioned that a few times.
No.
You've
Like,
mentioned
it
that, but I
actually
feel like
stresses you
you're
out.
actually
I
struggling
was
with
in
that.
like
Yeah.
set 3 for maths, and like I'm actually proud of like the way I can add up and.
I can do equations, but I
But you
can't
can't
do
tell the time because you're always late.
It's like a business partner would be like, yeah, so it's like 180 plus this plus that. I'm just like 100, 200, 300, and I think
Yeah.
just like
That's what I do.
I'm just like, it's 740. He goes, all right, let me just check. I'm sorry, it's 740. And he goes, oh, let me just check. Oh, it's 740. I was actually just like, how can you not add that in your head? You know what I mean? It's
Man.
Meanwhile, there's
But
people like me sweating, like trying to think.
But everyone's different now.
For me, I just
It's
learned
true.
loads and loads of equations and like whatever, and I just know the answer to them. So like, I don't actually work stuff out. I just remember what the answer is, which is mad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because that's how I even like flew through uni, because like I don't technically understand stuff. I can just
you
regurgitate
Yeah.
like what all like the papers have said or what I've heard, and that's fine.
Mad.
So yeah,
Crazy.
ask me to expand upon that. Joe, when they say show your workings, can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
sorry.
Do
like,
you want to hear a crazy story
Yeah.
about that? So before I went
Always.
to, now this is crazy, and this is obviously school or college. So before I went to my first college, I wanted to do music, which I ended up doing anyway. But in my local area, the college I went to go to, the teacher, I went to one of them inset days,
oh, yeah.
and he was like, basically you need to learn how to play a song if you want to get on this course. So I spent my 6 weeks holiday, I bought a keyboard and learned how to play, what was the song? I think it was like Rihanna Take a Bow or something like that. I learned how to play that.
What a romantic.
So I went after the 6 weeks of learning it, go back, ready, like, yo, I know this song.
Did they move the goalpost?
Started playing it.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, what was that chord? I said, what?
What? I don't know what chords are.
What chord?
You told me I needed to
Just
learn.
tell me.
you said, "No, that's fine."
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't have you on the course. So I ended up doing courses that I didn't even like throughout the year, failed them all. But then
That's mad.
the following year, I went to a music college in
Yeah,
Manchester.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's actually rude.
look at that wasted a year. Not wasted a year of my life, but it was like, yo, like he just threw out. He just.
It is mad though, because when I was
How
doing
bad is that?
when I was doing my piano grades as well, so I can't read music, but if I listen to the tracks, because they'd like give you the CD discs as well, so I'd listen to them and I'd learn it through there, but I'd learned when to turn the page, so that when the examiner's like there,
Oh my
so I
gosh, you're
play it and
blagging
yeah,
it.
and then I know when you turn the page, and then I just turn it, and then I just carry on going.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I fell down on is when they like, sometimes they give you a sequence, they're like, right, play this, like.
You fraudsters.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
What?
It's not.
You have to finesse the system, bruh.
It's a different way of learning.
Yeah, I just
So
don't learn like that.
I
I can do it by ear,
Yeah,
a
by
lot
ear.
easier, but like ask me to, like, oh, what key is that in? I don't know, man.
and
It's
if you
got
think-
4 sharps, so it's probably. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how I learnt it.
I don't really know because I don't know how to.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
we
I
gotta
played
think-
the flute for a bit, but like
yeah,
that's not the flute.
Recorder that. That's the
that
recorder.
was a trombone.
No, that's the recorder. The recorder.
Which one's the one where it's just like that?
It's recorder.
That's
Like
the
you always,
recorder.
you
The
always learnt
flute's like
that.
You
the
learn that in
side.
primary.
You always
school.
learnt that in schools.
But right, so do you not think, right, if that teacher on that course wouldn't let you do the course, imagine if you'd just gone, right, okay, I can see that you've got some talent here, some potential.
Yeah.
Learn the chords and stuff. I'll give you a couple more weeks to learn the chords and we'll revisit, and then you could just catch
To
up.
be successful
Like,
in school, you have to be
imagine-
successful in a certain way.
Yeah, imagine if
That's-
you'd have that outlook.
that's- it
to
was in
teaching
his way.
rather than
Yeah, which
So
is mad.
in his mindset, he probably already had the mindset of the person I am,
Yeah.
yeah.
and that could have been off something that's happened to him years
I
ago.
can't believe you spent 6 weeks learning Rihanna Take a
Six
Bow.
weeks.
And he said no.
He said
But I think that's
no.
across the board though. It's a bit like university. Like I nearly failed like uni. Still graduated in the end, but like with a real low mark because I didn't do the theory side of it properly.
Yeah.
But they said if I could grade you on the practical side of things,
Do that.
I'll give you a first because you're probably one of the best out of 300 students in practical
Sick.
events.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
hands down, I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in terms of the theory,
Yeah.
Big yourself up, my brother. I like that, man.
but in the theory, when I'm having to sit a law exam, a company finance
Yeah.
exam, a health and safety exam, I'm literally just like, I know the basics of that, but to me, I'm never going to be in the background of the event, so I'm going to be always on the practical organisation.
So you're gonna have people to
Yes,
do
I
those
need to
bits.
know and be aware of certain
Yeah,
things,
yeah, but if
I'm
that's
gonna,
not
I'm going to be
even
a
focused on.
team. I'm going to have a team. So, but yeah, but at the same time, she needed to tick boxes in terms of to get me through.
Yeah.
that.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing, is the boxes you need to tick to get these quote unquote diplomas.
But if the
that
lecturers
take
were
to the
able
next
to
level.
adapt your, for example, your music skill, if they knew you could play that without knowing the chords, okay, well, let's adapt that. We can bring that in at a later date or sign them off on that because if he wanted to go play this instrument or sing or whatever, he'll get first.
You actually got written off. Like
Yeah,
you got
basically.
written off.
Basically, yeah.
To read that.
That's what's the maddest thing is instead of focusing on that strength and then being like we can improve on other things, like they would if you were sat in a maths lesson, they'd be like, okay, so you might be able to do really well at equations, but you might not be able to do long division or something like that. And they'd focus you on long division. They've literally just said to you like, oh, you're really good at this, but like because you just didn't do
Yeah,
this other stuff, like we're sacking it off.
Mad, innit?
That's actually that's
It's a life
a
I've lived.
mad way to think about it. But school is a tick box. Like I actually do think school is a tick box because if you think about it, you come to uni, you learn so many things. Like, well, you learn the hard way. I think to be more accurate, finance. What the hell? What the hell? Like, you'll just get given.
It's one of those
the
things that you just
student loan,
learn
right?
on the way.
And
Do you know what I
either
mean? It's a sink or swim thing. It really
yeah,
is.
literally, and either your parents are going to help you out, which I never wanted that, so I actively just said if I'm struggling, I'm struggling. And luckily, we had people like you, like that would just give us extra shifts and stuff like that. So I learned that way to just graft harder, whereas other people don't necessarily have that. Might still be being supported by their parents, which is their parents' decision or whatever. But what skills are you learning? Do you know what I mean? Like, and there's no courses, there's nothing available in these like curriculums that teach you like financial literacy or anything like that.
Yeah, I know. That's
Doing the hand signal for close your legs.
She wasn't ready.
And literally, looking at you two as well.
Please.
That's look.
Kyle is literally so out and Joe's been like
I
this
like
the
that
whole
now. I
time.
said that. Like, I know.
You know what honestly is like seeing you sat down in like a low chair,
Yeah.
like you see your mannerisms a lot more, and like when you like laugh and you like go.
I love that. I love
Man's
that.
excited.
His little giggles.
Bloopers, outtakes.
That's cute.
I'm excited for launch.
Can I have my Bev, please?
Yeah, man.
The important
Alright,
things.
Where were we on?
Let me sh-
Talking about finance.
Oh yeah, like
Oh.
I was just saying.
Sorry. This window.
Oh no, it's nice. Leave it open.
Yeah, but I don't want it to swing open. It's gonna be dry. Sorry.
It's taking my fresh air.
Sorry. Let's go.
It's so hot in here. Yeah, I was just saying that throughout anyone that I've spoken to at uni or anything like that, you know how different schools do different things. I've not spoken to anyone that's been taught about like financial literacy, like life skills in that sense, getting onto the property ladder. I found that out, not even in uni, but like when I started working for a remortgaging company, and like I just started asking them questions when we were in training, and they were just like telling me all this stuff, and I was like, this is like over a year out of uni.
That's mad.
What the hell? Like that should not be a thing where we're learning these things so late in life.
Yeah, because some students and their finances, it's mad. I remember when I was opening my student account before I came to uni, but my dad already told me about, okay, this is how you should like sort out your finances and do this. But when I went into the branch, the guy that was opening my student account, he goes, yeah, don't you worry, like basically here's my card, I'm here for you. If you just need more money, just let me know and I'll just give you more money. And honestly, and I know for a fact that's how he's been selling it to every single student.
Like that. TSB, they'll literally just
Yeah, yeah, they're like-
they'll literally just like, oh yeah, if you want to raise your overdraft, just go online and just raise
Yeah,
it.
but like if you want more money, you just call me up, say that you need
I was
more
on
money,
the
I'll give you
That's
more money.
setting us
That's
up into
mad.
debt.
Yeah, it's
I was
mad.
on a night out and I just
yeah.
oh, I'm a bit short actually, let me just raise my overdraft by 100 quid. Guys, it's on me tonight.
What?
We're going.
Yeah.
I like Kyle, you know.
You know, you used to be able to get bottles of vodka.
This
for
is
like
why you're
20
mad for
quid.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd literally be
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, we're getting a table tonight, 2 bottles on
Which
me.
is
you know
mad,
what I mean?
yeah.
40
it's
quid.
And
exactly-
then two bottles back in the day amongst 5 people. That was it. You were lit.
And then
Yeah.
you've got man
Yeah.
who are like 2-3 grand in the overdraft.
Oh yeah, easy.
Easy.
But
Like I never opened one for that exact reason because I was like, I can't.
Even with HSBC, when I got a student account because I needed it for my student finance, you have to have a credit card. You couldn't open a student account back in the day.
So you get a student,
Without-
student credit card,
without a credit card.
Oh no, that's true. Yeah, that's the same on mine. But I just never had the actual card. I cut it up as soon as I got it.
Yeah.
You lot are smarter than us.
Like my dad taught me when I was younger because he used to give us, you know, if we went on holiday, whatever, when we used to go camping, they'd give us like a bag and it had like 50p's in it. So my dad and my mum always did this thing for holidays where they put pounds and 50p's away, and then I'd sit and count them all out for them, and then they'd take them in the bank or whatever.
Yeah.
But if we went camping, we'd get little bags of our own 50p's. That might be like a tenner in 50p's, but you'd go and
So
that's it for the week.
segregated, yeah.
Yeah, that's it for the week. Like
That's
you
a
can
good
put
little
whatever
mindset,
you want
that,
with
you know?
that.
Yeah.
And
You
so
never get
I
caught
was
that.
saving from like early,
Yeah.
but my brothers are different. They're completely different, complete opposite.
So do you think that's down to the school or is it down to your parents?
Parents, 100%.
If you read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's literally like that
Yeah.
where you've got like your rich dad who's got businesses, who's got houses, will teach
Yeah.
you to look at life from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Will teach you that. But then your poor dad just wants you to go through uni, get a basic job,
Yeah.
get into debt necessary because you have no
Yeah.
choice, and then to go through life. So there's completely two
That's
different
mad,
perspectives.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
school will not teach you
Good.
about your overdraft, about your credit report. I
Yeah.
remember when I
Yeah.
first set up a credit report, I found out I had a £10 default from Vodafone from 6 years ago. And I was literally just like, I rang them up. I was,
Only
just like,
defaults
I was
are
like, why have I got a default? Oh, we've sent you letters 6 years ago and you just never paid it. I was like, can I pay for it? Can you get rid of it? Oh yeah, not to worry. But like, there's
That's
still people
mad,
now
yeah,
who have
yeah.
never
But
had
still,
those
that's
kind
on there for 6 years and you
Yes.
didn't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Exactly. So not that I was probably applying for finance before, but now I've got my credit score back right up, which is great for me to be able to
Yeah.
reach out to other things then. But back in the day, I was just like, oh, if I can't afford that direct debit, I'll just let it bounce, and then next week I'll pay it.
Yeah,
You know
because
what I
you
mean?
don't
There's-
understand the value.
You don't. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah, to be
we
fair,
weren't taught this.
I still wouldn't
You're looking at us,
understand
we
what
weren't-
that meant.
no, it's crazy, but you got to remember from a student, you know,
For
what
a
I mean?
student's
Like,
perspective, you let
if
You
you
just
if
like,
you-
if I
do
can't pay it,
that.
I'll just let it bounce.
yeah,
yeah,
but
till the next month and then you just pay it the next month.
Yeah, like, yeah.
I'll pay it a few weeks
But
after.
you're saying that.
That's
Why
mad.
are you saying that as mad? Because you know the repercussions.
Shouldn't
of it.
I?
Yeah, like
We
Yeah,
didn't.
no, but if,
okay, yeah, fair.
like, not the average person knows the repercussions of it. You just know
Yeah.
that you have to pay something. Yeah, I'll pay it in 2 weeks when I get paid.
Yeah.
Because your job's gonna, you
That's
get
mad,
some
yeah,
cash
yeah,
in 2
yeah.
weeks. I'll pay it then.
Yeah.
As long as you're paying it and you're not dodging them.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know that the financial agreement obligation
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it
Can
yeah.
mess up your credit.
Course,
You don't.
yeah.
You don't understand it until that's something that should be taught in school. 100%.
So I remember when I introduced you to credit rating, you were just like, yes,
Yes.
mine's
Hi.
high. And I was like, how is yours so high? You know what I mean? It's just little
Yes,
things
man.
like
Even
that.
I
stuff
only
like-
did mine the other day, like for the first time ever, but I don't even know what classes is good. I just have to rely on the fact that they've got the little green thing. Like,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If
well,
you,
I'm
if
like
you see him
something
green, then
else,
you're
isn't
good
it?
then,
Yeah,
innit?
yeah,
If you-
yeah.
So when you see him red, goddamn.
But working towards a house, and if you are wanting to get a sort of a mortgage and save, you need to get your financial background
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
it. But like I said, if
Yeah.
not saying I was going to start saving from the age of 16, but if you had put £1 away from the age of 16,
It's just the awareness of it.
But you
because
don't even
something-
think
know, you
about
don't know,
it.
honestly.
And like, to be fair, for our generation, it's so much harder to get on the property ladder than say our parents. It should be something that's taught earlier so that you're prepping for these things earlier, so it's not as big as a burden. Because I know a lot of people get themselves down at our age, and obviously up, that they don't have a house, like that they don't have a house or like own property or all this. And actually, it's not that common, and it's actually quite fine because we haven't been taught how to get them. And plus, the prices of houses and the hoops that you've got to jump through these days. There's so much more we've got to do, and I think like I have to explain this to my parents all the time. Not that they're arsed that I don't have property or anything like that, but like I have to explain to them like, okay, you struggled in your era in different ways, but in our era we can't even get a house. Imagine that, like that's crazy.
But I still think awareness for people our age is bad. So even like stuff like council tax. I was speaking to my mate who had just moved into a new place. So I was like, oh yeah, so what's your council tax like? Have you got it sorted? And he moved in 4 months ago. He goes, oh, they haven't sent me a letter yet, so I haven't like paid it. And I was like, no, like you need to set that up and you need to pay it. He goes, no, like my friend just said they'll send you a letter when you need to pay it and then you just start paying it. I'm like, no, bro. Which is so mad. And he just had no idea. I was like, your friend's like not set you up to win at all.
Oh. Yeah.
I think it's great. Like I'd like to say that that's not a common story, but like pretty much like 90% of the people I know don't pay their bills or like council taxes or their taxes on time. About 90% of people I know.
You know what? For me, I didn't even think that was an option. So I was like, you know what? If I miss,
yeah, do you know what I mean?
I was like, if I miss council tax, bailiffs straight. Like
Yeah.
genuinely.
And it's weird.
Is that
'cause-
where your mind goes straight away?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fear of God.
Do you know? So I think I'll put it to this: like we've grown up with probably like, especially with my parents and stuff, being like if there's a late bill or something, they've known how to maneuver around it. So that's how we've seen it.
Yeah.
So we've never seen it as an issue. But I guess like when
Depends
you're
what background you're
it's
from.
the background you're from as well. We've not been taught right. This is how you have to do that in terms of finances. So when you're taught that at an early age, like you're saying, you're thinking, right, like how can you miss that? But for us,
No, I haven't even thought about this. Like, considering how well my mum and dad have set me up to think about money, they never discuss bills. I would never know if there was a late bill. Like, I would never know.
yeah, you'd never know it,
But
but
you
you would
wouldn't
see what was going on, if that made sense.
Literally none of that. But for me, I learned a lot of things growing up through watching other people's mistakes. And like I say, my brothers are completely different with money than me. Like, and say for example, Christmas, you do Christmas lists.
Yeah.
Everything on their Christmas list would be expensive. It would be like flashy. It would be like the newest PlayStation, the newest games, all of this stuff. And because I knew how expensive that was, and I knew that there was 2 of them, I took it upon myself as a child to be like, I'm not going to ask for the expensive stuff because then I don't want them to be stressed. Like,
More fool you.
but like, I feel like I've come out better
Go home,
for it.
get 6
Do you
presents.
want to
That's mad. Oh, Hannah.
hear a joke?
No, but
Do you want to hear a joke story?
Yeah,
Just off
yeah,
Christmas
yeah.
presents. So my older sister, one year she must have got a bike, and she got a bike at Christmas, and she goes, "Oh, is that it?" Ask me how quick my mum and dad took that bike off.
Oh my god.
Yo, but
she
she was
said,
young.
"Is
I think she was
that
like 12 at the time. But obviously, when you're going to school and stuff, and you're hearing what these other kids
Yeah,
are getting,
yeah,
Is
100%.
in your
that
mind,
it?
brand new bike, you know. She had a few other presents, but it was just like
Is that it?
Do you know what it is? Like, I sort of
I
stopped
remember
enjoying
that.
Christmas probably about 6 years ago, just because, about 6 years ago, because my little brothers would have been about 14, 15, and my little sister would have been about 8. Now, I then realised how hard my mum and my parents and everyone around them was working financially to get those presents. And the fact that they were then sitting there queuing up at like 10 a.m. to open their presents, open one, I love this. Open it, I love this. And it was literally just like a juice rate. And it's almost like now, even if my nan got me like some Dove, some socks or whatever, I'll just
The
like, appreciate
appreciation.
this.
Honestly,
I'm like, let me go and get some fresh socks on. You take that care with that. Because if that costs them £50, that's a day's work.
You do work it out in hours work now, don't you? You'd be like, this will be 4 hours.
I'm not saying I want every kid just to sit here and like, you know what I mean?
Do you know how long I worked for
that?
Appreciate your parents.
But it's almost just like, they don't appreciate it. So when you get older, Christmas is just...
and I think that's
work, save, you know what I mean, buy Christmas, not waste it because you want, like, I want to buy my little sister a Christmas present, you know what I mean, just like I love it, you know what I mean, but my old younger brother Alex and Zach are like 19 and 21, they don't need a Christmas present. But us playing Monopoly and games, is that's
the best part.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to make it clear as well. My mum and dad would get me they'd get me like a new phone or something, but say my phone would last like 6 years. Do you know what I mean? And I'd feel so guilty that they got me something so expensive. But for me, what I love getting is the new set of pajamas every year, like because it's a little tradition that I've got.
I just want a fresh collection of teas. I just want loads of different
so
teas.
simple.
That's all I want.
And when you grow up, you realise these things that you say, and they get you more stuff that you actually need, and that like it's not just a flitting fancy. It's like, oh my god, you've been saying that you need something like this, and then you're like, oh, I don't have to buy this for myself. This is so nice.
If my mum bought me a new frying pan, I'd be gassed. I needed to buy myself a new frying pan for ages. So like, if she got me that, I'd love it.
Yeah, it's little things like that mean so much more rather than. But I'm always wondering, like, you know, with technology and stuff, are these new kids that are coming up, is that what they're thinking about? Like, what are they valuing more than anything these days?
Now it's fitting this Instagram era, innit? So they're instantly wanting gratification. So, where's my new Balenciagas? Where's the new Supreme?
Am I going to be seeing my little sister uploading every single present now to Instagram story?
Yeah.
That's mad.
That's a sort of difference now.
We didn't do that last year though.
Probably not, but like the older you get,
we follow each other.
The older we get, is it going to be that?
And it depends on the era as well. Like you say, like this era now is all about like, what you doing, showing everyone what I'm doing rather than enjoying the moment. Where we've got to the point now we understand the financial aspects of Christmas and things like that. So we can appreciate the little things a lot more. And I think that's another thing that's not taught, like understanding what the value of things are. I think that should be taught in schools.
100%.
Like, I know sometimes it gets taught at home, but not enough, I think.
Yeah, but it shouldn't just be on, like, if you're going to you're going into an education system, you should be being educated on the important things. It shouldn't always just be down to the parents. I know your parents do have a massive impact on the way that you think about things and the way that you do things. And that can either be lucky or unlucky, do you know what I mean? But I think to cover all the bases, schools should be given the bare minimums.
Especially in primary schools, because you have to understand as well, sadly not all kids have amazing parents. So like my mum was a primary school teacher for like 20 odd years, and she was realising that a lot of the kids, like, because at the time you were allowed to do this, she'd give them breakfast, like she'd like help them like make their breakfast and stuff, because some kids would come into school not having any breakfast. Some of them would like have their pyjamas under their school uniform, which is mad, or just don't know certain things, and my mum was having to teach them those basic things as a primary school teacher.
I think that falls onto the back of what even Marcus Rashford's doing now with this whole campaign with, helping kids get more school meals. Like, he's someone that's been through that, and like I watched a story on BBC the other day with him and his mum just doing a little interview about it, and her bringing up the 3 kids and not being able to afford to feed them, not even herself. So you got to think of like, even stuff like that is taking, the government didn't really care until somebody high profile like Marcus Rashford took the stand. So, and
even then they're still a bit like, they're blaming the parents, but not acknowledging that the children suffer. It's not their fault. They didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to be in this scenario. They didn't like they didn't ask for all of these things to happen to them, but should you deny them food and like basic things just because their parents can't cope? Like, no, you should. Obviously the answer is no, and obviously, but nobody wants to take accountability for these children that are not theirs. Because they're like, oh, I've had to struggle, I've had to do this.
Yeah,
but imagine if
that's
that was you.
But the way that I
like-
see it, I'm like, if I've had to struggle and do something, like, surely I've done that so the next person doesn't have to.
Exactly.
Not be like, oh, I've gone through this, so you should too. It's not a rite of passage. Do you know what I mean?
Like,
Yeah, I think there is a market, not necessarily there should be a market, but there's an opportunity for a business person or certain sector or someone to have a weekend education club.
yeah.
And all of the categories that we're saying, like history, finance, like mental health, etc.
Yeah.
They should like, because for example, if I wanted to put my kid into Saturday school to learn those things,
Do you know what that
I'd
was
do
though?
it.
You do
Do
it.
you know what that was back when we were growing up? That was like the youth clubs and things like that. That's what
true,
taught us
actually.
that. They don't have that no more.
Oh, see, the youth clubs, they were just like about religion around my area.
Not around me. They taught
They
like
taught you nothing.
I know, but if there was something now where it's just like, right, Saturday club from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
This is the criteria. You're doing this every week in line with the school year, and the course is £250. I would pay that £250. I'd pay that £250 now for my little sister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even now, like even an adult, because for example,
Yeah, I'd go sit in on the
Because-
classes.
Tell me how to pay my taxes.
no, because I'd pay it now for my brother Alex. I was like, go do the financial side of things. Go do not so that he suffers from mental health, but go do that as well.
Yeah,
Depends on
yeah.
what career you want to go into
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, because
I
you
was like,
just don't know what could happen.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you might not be suffering from mental health right now,
Now.
but also you most likely know someone who is,
yeah.
or that you might come across that in life. Like, pretty much everyone has it at some point, and I think it's definitely something that we need to encourage people to talk about and normalize it. Like, and I just don't think there's anything out there, like you say, to do that. I see some people doing it for adults. I see a lot of people but they're the Americans. Like,
So,
it's not in.
Now you've got
UK.
things like the Prince's Trust. They do stuff like that,
Yeah,
but it's
they do.
knowing about these things again. Is it put in a way that somebody who loves going on Instagram is going to go and look at the Prince's Trust? No,
Yeah.
it has to be put in a format and being told by the people for those people. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
I think there should even be like a business teaching thing. Not that I know everything about business, but like I learned like a year ago that like me handling people's data, I need to have like an ICO certificate or something like that. I didn't know that. I've been like winging, like I've been doing my business for 2 years without having that certificate. You know what I mean? Like business insurance. Does everyone have business insurance, or can they think they can get away with it? But then actually, if someone comes at you for this, do you know that they're going to take you down and take everything out your bank account, and then if not, like make you bankrupt? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're never going to be able to get a mortgage again. Like people don't understand that stuff, but there's nothing out there, and you're not going to go back to uni for 3 years to study business management to know that.
But I also think, like you said, you've done business at uni. I also think the education system doesn't allow for learning in different ways either.
Yeah.
Like, well, not in our generation anyway. You'd see like they'd be slightly different. You know, they'd do maybe a colour piece of paper for someone that's dyslexic, something like that. It's very
That's
basic.
bare minimum, you know.
And like I get frustrated.
Read on blue.
I think it's frustrating because everyone learns in different ways, and you don't really, you're not able to understand in the way. You're not able to understand the way in which you're able to learn either until you're doing revision or something like that. And even then, that can be too late for some people. Like, I'm lucky in the sense that I learnt to cram in my own way, but my classes weren't always given in the way that I could absorb that information. You know, if someone just goes, like talks at you and there's no interaction.
Because some people
like
with
that,
kinesthetic
no
learners, they have to
practicality.
do things with their hand and able to understand. Whereas for me, like, I'm not an auditory learner. Like, I have to speak stuff for me to understand it. So if I teach other people, that's how I learn it myself.
Yeah.
Because other people have to physically do. And to be fair, I can't imagine it's much of the population that just learn through just hearing.
I think
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
Such a spectrum.
audio and visual learner, so
But you think in school, unless it's like drama or something like that, you're learning in one set way for every lesson, and that's it. Unless you get a good teacher, which are those the
Drama was
lessons
jokes
that you
at school.
enjoy in it, like where they'll give you the backwards and forwards, or you can basically ask loads of questions and stuff. Some teachers hated that of me. Like, I'm very much like, I'll ask a question and I'll ask another question, I'll ask another question. I need to understand everything behind it in order for me to process the information and apply it to what I need to apply it to. You don't have room for that in every class. Like, people are like, shut up. I'm like, this is not.
I think it depends what set you're in. Like I said, if you were in your first and second sets, it's almost just like an expectation for you to sort of for you to know that. But then when you're in your third and your fourth sets, then you have the ability to ask that because you're not maybe necessarily expected to know certain things.
Yeah.
As bad as that sounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was in third and fourth sets across the board, and if you didn't understand anything, you'd be like, what's this? And I'd break it down for you because you're not the only one who doesn't understand. But then I was also in first and second set for other things, which I was just like, what am I doing in here? But I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's
You know what I
third
mean?
and fourth set. That's
so
like
it's
the lower
different
ones.
ways in which
Yeah,
they're
it's
taught in,
different.
is
Yeah,
that?
well, if you're in first and second set and you're
It's more
asking
independent
questions,
learning,
and
innit?
you're asking questions, like you're just like, why are they asking questions? Like,
Yeah.
are they meant to be in this set? As bad as it
Yeah.
sounds, like that's
No,
Yeah.
that's mad.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah.
Are you smart enough for this?
But
Well,
when
like
you're
I
in
say, it's
third and
different in
fourth,
different
you can
schools.
literally
Yeah.
ask
Ask
that
questions,
and take
yeah.
as much time as you want. So.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine being allowed to ask so many questions.
I remember I was in like French and Italian in first or second set. I wasn't complaining because I was sat next to one of the
Yeah.
fittest birds of my year.
Hey.
You know what I mean? So that was getting me
So
there.
that's
you know
why
what
you
I mean?
weren't learning.
But I didn't have a clue. Like, and you don't want to feel stupid by
Yeah.
asking like for certain things.
Yeah,
But when I went back into my comfortable third and fourth set for other things, if I was confused in anything, I'd be like, right, I don't understand this, then you'd have to support there. You know me to ask a question.
I did see that in schools, to be fair. You know, if someone in our set had like see that, I experienced that, you'd ask a question, they'd be like, you weren't listening. I'd be like, no, I
No,
just
I
need
was,
you
I
to
just didn't get it.
expand on that. I don't think you're giving me enough information. And they'd be like, you weren't listening. I'd be like, I can regurgitate everything you've just said to me,
Yeah,
but
but I don't get
it's
it.
not enough. Like, know that it's
I remember
not
just
enough.
seeing myself drop set after set in maths. So I started in like G&T,
Oh,
did
no.
I.
first set,
Same.
second set,
That's so weird.
third set. Like just went lower and lower and lower. It was mad.
I went from first set in maths, expected like a star in that, and just because I was a
I can't
joker
do
in
it.
it
I can't do it.
in school, so I was just like,
yeah.
Oh,
trying
you're
to
a
be the.
disruptive one.
I was like, yeah, the comedian.
You got
So-
straight out of that first
so-
set there. No time for the comedians in first set.
Imagine this, yeah. This was one of probably my turning points as well in school. So my maths teacher, when I dropped to second set, she was like, yeah, like Andre's capable, but he just loves the attention, and he just loves to.
No
eat
listening
what-
skills, just
Just
vibes.
Yeah, basically. From there, no listening skills,
Oh,
just
yeah.
vibes.
No, I
From the
remember
get-go.
this from my secondary teacher, and we were all taking a piss. He goes, "You lot all laugh and joke now. I've got my degree.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
You lot will need to get your
She
degree."
did
And
not
we're
say
literally just like, we don't need no degree. 3 years later,
That
He's
is
like,
hilarious.
"Bruh."
when you're sitting there doing
She
your
was
A levels to try and get into uni,
She
it's
was
like-
literally sat there so smug.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
mad.
yeah.
She's literally so
She's
so
like-
smug.
Yeah.
I remember.
That's
Honestly, I
true.
remember. I'll never forget that moment. And we were just like, And I was just
When
like,
I get home
maybe.
and drink my glass of wine, you're the one that's got to deal with the thingy. That's what.
To be fair though, like my mum and dad had the same outlook. I'm not gonna force you to revise. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna force you to do anything. If you mess it up, it's on
Yeah.
you. And I used to be like,
Really?
My dad said that
like,
to me as well.
because I know I can't blame anyone else. Then I used to be like, oh, I'm gonna have to cram, but that's why. I
Oh
just
no,
learned to
like my
cram.
dad was like making sure that like I was learning stuff. Whereas with my brother it's a lot more relaxed. So like I've seen my brother get up at 3 AM doing his homework. It's mad. It's mad. Like he'd
Fair-
go
No, but
downstairs
fair
on my
play.
dad's computer and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just haven't done my homework. Whereas like my dad wouldn't let me go to bed until I've done my homework. Like, or he'd get me like extracurricular lessons. So I'd like do like private maths tutor and stuff like that because I just didn't get it. I had to have those little blocks that help you to count. Yeah, I had that in like year 8, year 9. It was mad.
Bruh. What?
I
You
probably
dyslexic
could do
and
with
stuff,
them now.
No, I just honestly numbers just is not my thing.
Oh wow.
They swap around.
So like I was in like gifted and talented for all my other things, but like maths, numbers, I can't really do it. Even if you read out a phone number to me, I can't write it down. Like you'll have to do it for me. If you say 3, I don't know why I always get 3 and 8 mixed up. It's a bit mad. I think it's because it looks the same, but one's just not finished. That's just what it is. It's just mad. But yeah,
I didn't
numbers
even
suck.
like. I'm dyslexic, but I didn't even get clocked until second year of uni. So I went through the whole sort of like maybe not primary school anyway, but secondary school to then get to uni first second year. I was literally just like someone was just like, you need to go get a dyslexia test, and I was like, nah. And then they're like, oh, you can get a free laptop. I was like, yeah.
Which is mad because I know people, especially in my secondary school, that did the dyslexic test and flunked them on purpose because it got them extra time.
Well, no, that's what I mean. But even when you go get the dyslexic test, and you just like, I'm going to take my time and act stupid to get tested, and it doesn't matter. It's that they. It's a. I don't know how the test is made out. But whether or not you take your time or whiz through it, they will know.
Yeah.
Honestly, you try and act stupid. Some of the questions are like, fucking hell, I don't actually know this. Honestly, and everything's like, this one's easy. Like, I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? Honestly, and then it came out. So I was like, yeah, you're dyslexic.
Oh, okay.
That should have been like identified in like.
Well, no, that was the most frustrating thing because I was literally like, when I'm sitting here writing essays, and when I write essays, I then have to get my mum to like check it. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, can you check this? She was like, have you actually reread this? I was like, yeah. Then I'll send it back and publish it. But that's a support where someone in actual uni where you'd submit something, like, can you review it? They'll review it, make all the annotations, you edit it back, then submit it. But I was going through all of that in secondary school and first year and a half of uni without having that support there. You know what I mean? Not saying my grades would have been massively better, but
you don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you literally don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So,
do you think though, like, the teachers actually care these days?
I don't know. I felt like some of my teachers really, really did. So especially my maths teacher, like, he did his absolute hardest to get me a B in GCSE maths. Like, I worked my absolute arse off. And then so I think I did my GCSE maths in it was either end of year 9 or early year 10. But as soon as I got it, I was like sick. And he was like, right, I'm really proud of you. You don't have to do it anymore. But obviously I still had to come to the class, but I could do other work from other classes in the class, because he was like, you know what, you've got what you've aimed for. I know that you've really struggled with it. Either you can carry on or you can just be happy with your B. And I just took the B and then just carried on. But like, he honestly did so well to like help me, because I was like, I can't do this. Yeah,
that's that. I think that's the difference, is having teachers that actually care and having teachers that are there for a paycheck.
But you can tell. You can literally tell. That's literally why I stopped going to my English lessons, because she'd been there for a very long time. And she did used to be like, she'd make some really good points or whatever. But then sometimes she just didn't want to teach that class. Like, and I'm sorry, it's too close to A-levels. I did it for A-level as well. So I was literally like, I cannot afford to not do well because I wanted to do law. I was literally like, I can't afford to do this. But say, for example, my drama teachers, like, I've got a lot to thank them for. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've given me so much of the other skills that are so transferable, and they actually cared about my grade. Like, even though I flopped my written exam so bad because my dad was he was in hospital with spinal tumor at the time, and when I was stressed, my brain just used to like shut down. I couldn't even form a sentence, like nothing. I would not be able to write anything. But I also had extra time because the way my brain worked. So those exams, I was in that exam room for like 8 hours, like literally 8 hours. And I think it was the last one. I just given up. I literally given up. I was like, I cannot, like, my brain is not working anymore. But lucky, because they put so much time and energy and everything into the practical side of it, I smashed it. Like, I smashed it. Do you know what I mean? So I was just like, all of those things that I got from it.
Gotta give her a clap. Yes, Hannah. Go on, girl.
All of the skills I got from it, like the confidence and like being able to blag things and stuff, they've been so transferable for me, especially in law and doing law in uni, that you gotta appreciate those types of teachers. Whereas the other teachers that didn't give a shit, I've got to appreciate them in a different way, because I knew how to pull up my socks and teach myself, like, because that's who else was going to teach me?
The thing is, how did you get that mentality now into like the new era?
What do you mean?
What, to kids now?
Yeah, kids now. How do you teach that to like my little brother and sister, or Kyle's little brother? How do we? Because we could. Do you know what it was? Like, I said this to my dad. I said, "There's a lot of things you could have taught me," and he's like, "But you didn't care." So
it's one of those. I honestly think that parents need to cooperate with the schools as well. That's generally how I think it is as well.
They
Because
can't to a degree. Yeah. After a certain years, you can't, especially uni. As soon as you're 18,
you're right.
Parents can't access anything unless the actual student gives them permission.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's because you're 18, isn't it? But
I just think that's
you've got to put the groundwork in while you're younger to get them into the mindset there. But like you say, if you don't want to listen,
because like
you don't want to listen.
My dad said, "Do you think when you was like 13, you wanted to sit down and start learning about Black history, or did you want to go and play football with your friends?"
It is what it is. Sometimes it just takes time with kids. Because I remember even with my little brother as well. like his handwriting for whatever age he was, it was mashed. It was not okay. Like it looked bad. And art, he just didn't care about it, and he never did. Like I remember he bought something home, blessed him, for my mum for Mother's Day. And my mum was like, "What size is that?" I don't know.
Little something.
Like,
He said, "What is that?"
So
I don't know.
he's like, I don't know. Whereas like
Sweet.
now, when he's actually realised, okay, it's just, I think for him, it was just kind of a realisation. He's like, okay, yeah, I can't have my handwriting looking like I've written it with my foot. Do you know what I mean? But like now, like it's good, and I think for him, it's just kind of a switch thing, because like my mum was like, you know what, if he doesn't like art, he doesn't like art, and I'm not gonna like force him or whatever.
But your handwriting, you can just lose marks. Like,
yeah. So
for no
but
reason.
he just patterned himself up. That's the sort of
And
thing.
it's just write as big as I possibly could, just to use as many pages.
Yeah.
I was that person.
And
But going back to it as well, it's like in primary school and university, when you have got a teacher who is with you for the whole journey, I think it's easier to get that support and for them to care. Whereas in secondary school,
primary
it's
is
like
different.
it's like you're literally seeing one set, next set, and you can't give that support because there's always going to be a few individuals in that class that ruin it.
that stand out
And then
as well.
basically knock them back. So it out for me, I'm like, it's harder for a teacher to go into secondary school and keep the passion that they went in there originally with, being like, I want to help kids, I want to support them, I want to do that. Because I'll go into a class and be like, after that class with those 3 children, the you know what I mean, the comedian, or you know what I mean, it's just absolutely wound me up. And whilst I'm trying to teach
that's
all the
mad,
other
yeah.
10, 15 kids, I've got someone heckling in the background at any opportunity, you know what I mean? Which is just,
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I was doing
But, you know
madness.
what I mean?
Me,
Why would you
you know.
do that?
I was
You know, I
even that
did-
kid that told you to shut up and be like, we're trying to learn.
No,
bro.
but
Shut up.
okay, you had them kids, yeah, but a majority of the other kids were just found it funny.
Yeah, obviously, but like some people want to learn.
But
innit?
this isn't Alan
Oh
Carr's
my
chatty
God,
man.
sounds
Why
like
are
such a
you
nerd.
trying to make it?
I mean, I was young, innit? I was like,
But if you're talking about the support, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, through school,
It
I
is
think
different,
I
yeah.
think the support's there in terms of your primary school and your university. You know what I mean? If someone's gonna look out to kick you up the arse and be like, "Can you just stay behind for a second? Like, I just think
Yeah.
you're slipping off a little bit, or I need you to attend more lectures, or I need you to step
I
up
didn't
your
have
game."
that in uni though. I feel like I just went into the crowd. Do you know what I mean? Like with all of my teachers in high school, I was on a very one-on-one basis with them, and
But
like
you
I
say you
could
probably went
stay
into the
behind or
crowd.
whatever.
You
But with
probably
you-
you probably went at not a risk. But you were probably at the student level who was achieving and didn't dip and didn't.
First year, I definitely
For
was
me,
not, but it
with
didn't
uni,
count,
what
so
I
it's
found
fine.
that level of support is available, but you have to ask for it and you have to seek it. So
Yeah.
realistically, like
Yeah.
my degree, there was 350 odd people there. They can't be analysing each person to
Listen,
that
true,
degree.
Yeah.
So like I knew for a fact, and I did happen a couple of times where I'd go to my tutor and be like, I'm really, really struggling with this, and she'd take the time out. Or like
Yeah.
I could go to random tutors in my faculty
Yeah.
and ask for help, and they'd sit down and they'd help me.
fair.
So-
Yeah, but you don't get taught how to ask for help either.
I literally went.
Like,
I
that's
literally remember. I
something-
remember in my faculty during my dissertation, knocking on door to door, literally
To
down.
find a teacher.
Someone
just
help
just
me,
to say,
anyone.
can you help me do this? Like, so I was using some next
Anyone.
like data.
Answer
Yeah,
the
yeah.
door.
No, but I was like, I was like, do you know how to do like use this software? And some of them were like, no, but like they do. And I literally just went around knocking.
Yeah.
I could
It
just
was-
imagine you knocking the door, and then when that door opened, just the lights.
I think they have to allocate a certain amount of sort of people to dropouts, etc. You know what I mean?
Really?
Oh, 100%. It's a bit like, I remember our course back in the day, which was events management, there was like 400 people, and they budget literally for about 100 dropouts after the second year from placement, because people either, you'll have a certain amount of people drop off after first year being like, uni isn't for me, and then after placement, people will either be like, I've done a year in industry, I've worked full
And this is
time,
not what I want.
and that's, I don't want to go back to education, or I'm going to stay in this job, which is a mistake, because you haven't got any education, you just got a job.
Yeah.
So they allocate for about 100 drop-offs within
That's
that
mad.
2-year period with those circumstances. And
Like, instead of putting your resources to stop people dropping out and seeing how you can improve things so people don't drop out, they just they're just like, I'm going to budget for all these people to drop out.
That's your bigger courses, you know what I mean?
But this is what I'm saying, like the outlook the government and these establishments
it's money,
have
though.
Yeah, it's
to
all money, it's all
education
money,
is
realistically.
crazy. But what I think is the way that you teach things, like, again, because we teach it from a white male cis perspective, even just teaching it from a different perspective, or teaching it with inclusivity in the back of it as a running theme through it, it's not taking any more time, it's not taking any more like
But-
resources. It just takes an outlook, but people aren't willing to change the education system
no
to,
way.
Yeah,
They're not.
to
that's what I'm
incorporate
saying.
that.
I
It's too big of a job for everyone, apparently, but
That's
it
what
would
I was gonna
help.
I think that's what it is. It's too big of a job for them to do because there's a system already in place. For them to change the system, teachers gonna have to relearn.
But even if you don't want to
together.
change it
heaven forbid.
structurally,
That's
but even
what
if you don't want
learning.
to change it structurally, even like certain teachers during their certain lectures can, because they've got autonomy over how they teach
Yeah.
certain modules and whatever. So I remember in one of my lectures, my lecturer was trying to explain, I can't remember, it was basically evolutionary psychology, that was the module. And he was like, I'm really sorry that I have to explain it like this, but this is the only way that I can explain it. And he was speaking about like butterflies, and he goes, you have the black butterflies like the slaves and the white butterflies like the masters. And he was like, sorry if that's offensive, but I can't explain it any other way. But I'm like, yeah, you can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And surely
Yeah, I was like,
there's a
there's loads
difference.
of other ways,
Wow,
which is mad.
man
Which is
said
mad.
butterflies, you know.
Yeah, it was mad. It was mad. But I'm a bit like, you have autonomy over what you choose. Like
How you
one's
do it,
taught
yeah.
you to like. No
Have
one
you
has
even
told you
asked
to teach
anyone
it
to
like
help
that.
you? Like,
Plus-
And if you know it's
different way.
offensive, right, you should take the time out, sit down, and think, okay, how else can I explain this? If you don't know, ask someone else. Do you know what I mean? It was mad.
100%. Your school's mad.
Mate, that was uni.
That's
Uni.
That was uni.
And he said butterflies.
Yeah, he was speaking about butterflies and how basically these butterflies mate, because it was evolutionary psychology. And he's like, and the black butterflies who were their slaves, something or other, the white. Clearly, I wasn't listening because I didn't. Anyway, evolutionary psychology wasn't my thing. I dropped it. Yeah, it was just a bit mad still.
But that's
yeah.
so the way he was taught, that he was basically giving that back in a sense.
Yeah, but he didn't want to learn a new way to teach.
To teach
Like,
it.
That's why I think one of the best lecturers I ever had was Paul Ragg, and he was
Shout out
Shube's-
Paul Ragg.
Shout out Paul Ragg,
Shout out
wherever you
Paul
are.
Ragg. He was Shube's tutor, but
Okay.
I just I didn't even used to go speak to my tutor because all he would do if you had a problem, he'd just say, Have you thought about going into environmental law? And I was like, no, literally no. And we've had this discussion in first year. Like, I literally have no wishes for this whatsoever. But that's the only thing he suggests. Like, oh, well, you could always go into environmental law. Like, I haven't even taken it as a module, so no, I can't. Like,
ship you off.
do you know what I mean? So I used to just bypass him and go to Paul, and he always made time, even though I wasn't his problem. He only taught me for media, but he would teach in loads of different ways, and he was very interactive, and he'd always just be like, is there anyone else who can explain that maybe better? Because maybe the way I'm explaining it is not.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, well, shit, yeah, someone else has just come along and said it in a
Yeah.
more simple way. And you're like, oh, okay, like, I see this now. It's not hard to
But
do
it's just
that.
so
like,
good 'cause I
open
do
the floor and
remember
put
with,
your
like,
ego to the side.
My private maths tutor as well, she was like, if you don't understand something, it's not your fault, it's the way that I've explained it, so therefore you just haven't understood it from how I've explained it. And that made me feel so much better. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not stupid.
But like, it's little things that you can change that aren't outlandish in any sort of way, but people don't want to. And that's like, I feel like that is the basic thing of it. People don't want to change. They don't like change. They think it's going to be harder than it is. And to be fair, it's an overwhelming sort of thought because there's so many complicated issues in society that you do need to take it into consideration for. But there's no problem with opening the floor to people that might actually be able to shed some more light on it, educating yourself, allowing other people to help with the education. Like, put your ego aside and actually just allow yourself to be taught how to teach. Like, is that not
100%.
what the attitude should be? Especially in uni, you do expect better. Like you say, you've got more autonomy and how you can teach these curriculums, but it does need to start earlier because that's the only way that we're going to really make any changes, is starting it where their minds are easier to mould. I
I
think.
agree.
Jeez.
But you know,
Preach, sister.
it's weird because we've all got such like big opinions on education and stuff, but none of us are in educating fields.
It's
Yeah,
mad,
that's
innit?
all. No.
It's mad.
So we got to do our bit where we go.
Don't have to invite someone on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
Actually,
someone.
that's actually a good idea.
That's a good idea, you know, we just didn't
But we did we want to aim to get a lot of people from different professions to come on and talk about
Yeah.
these different things and maybe give a background as
I
to
like
why things are like that. But
If you want me
Oh
to.
yeah, sure, it's that'd be amazing.
if you want to talk about education,
No, I don't want to do people
You know,
from
couple
education.
people-
oh, I was like,
Yeah,
haven't we
shout
just
them, yeah.
established that you got?
Oh, yeah, that'd be sick.
Nice.
Yeah, but like you guys do interesting jobs. We haven't even had you on to talk about your jobs yet, but it's all about the different perspectives and making the changes in those areas because although we like to sit here and think that, oh, I work in a solicitor's, none of these things affect me. They absolutely do, because we work with businesses all the time. We might work with teachers at times. Like, we might represent these different types of people. If we can get any more understanding into what they're doing, then we can highlight the issues for ourselves, and then obviously when we have kids, pay it back. But I think people do like to stay in their own lane a little bit too much, and not like to think that they have an effect on those things, when really your child might grow up to be.
For me, it's a thing of like, if or when I do have kids, I'll be like, I'm gonna go in with the mindset that they're not gonna learn all the things that I want them to learn in school, so I'm gonna put that on myself to teach them. Because
or guide them into spaces that they can be taught.
That they can, I
think that's probably the best way to do it. And I think, like when I said I had a conversation with my dad about it, and he said, like, at the time you weren't even interested in that. Well, my question back to him was like, wasn't there a way of you could have taught me? And he said, yeah, there possibly could have been, but at the time it wasn't like a thing in his mindset he would think of. So for me, if I had kids, like you say, that would be the way I'd approach it. I'd look at how my kid learns, and then figure out, like, look at football at the moment, racism in football, they're teaching that now in a way that can be related. So kids that are now watching football are like, why are they kneeling? Like, and now that's gonna have to be explained, and
which is
so
really good.
That's it's just little things like that can make a bigger impact and a bigger difference. So yeah, I fully agree with that. I think
Good chat, guys.
that was a good chat.
Conversation.
No Karen's
Like
podcast.
Tune in.